It has been 165 days since Israel and the United States launched strikes on Iran, triggering a war that has gradually engulfed much of West Asia and sent shockwaves across the world. Despite mounting pressure and repeated warnings from the United States, Iran has shown little indication that it is ready to back down, suggesting the conflict could continue for much longer. In the latest, Mohammad Reza Naqvi, a senior advisor to the chief commander of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, he made a big statement. He says the IRGC is shifting from a primary defensive posture to an offensive doctrine. During a televised interview, Naqvi flexed Iran's military might, saying the Islamic Republic's production of missiles and drones, it exceeds the rate at which it deploys the hardware. Long-standing international economic sanctions on Iran, they have forced the country to shift from external dependence to internal self-reliance, turning economic isolation into a strategic doctrine of national preparedness and domestic resilience. Naqvi said, and I'm quoting him here, "Even if the war lasts for several years, our ballistic missiles will continue to rain down on the enemy."
Whenever the situation demands and the order is issued, we must be capable of extending operations into enemy territory and conducting missions far from our own land. These are the characteristics of an offensive doctrine that must be realized. The IRGC is now tasked with achieving this readiness and developing the capability to execute such operations at the appropriate time.
He also credited the armed forces for successfully confronting the American military, despite U.S. enjoying a markedly annual expenditure which is much larger. In fact, he acknowledged that the military that they are currently fighting, it is an annual budget 100 times larger than theirs. Various American outlets and officials have attested to the U.S. frustration in the face of the reprisal, citing Washington's strategic confusion as well as depletion of its missile stockpiles. They acknowledged that the American military is weaker than what they perceived. In a fresh threat, a spokesperson from the IRGC said that any renewed threats against the country, it will put hundreds of thousands of miles of American energy lines and power plants at risk. While tensions persist, Iran has hardened its condition for reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Mohsen Rezai, the newly appointed Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, he made Tehran's broader demands clear, stating that the U.S. must end the war, lift its blockade and sanctions, release frozen funds and agree to a broader regional ceasefire. Now, Iran is building dual economic pressure. It has choked Hormuz directly, while using its Houthi allies in Yemen to enforce a de facto maritime blockade at the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Besides, Houthis are continuing with strikes against Saudi Arabia. On Tuesday, the Iran-backed group struck several Saudi military concentrations, weapons depots and command centers in Mari province in Yemen. The group spokesperson, Yahya Saria, said that the operation involved a large number of ballistic missiles and drones, causing dozens of deaths and injuries. Now, the big question is, as the war drags on and Iran shows no signs of backing down, does the United States have any option left but to concede to Tehran's demands? We earlier spoke to Ali Salehian from Tehran. He's a PhD scholar of international relations and the head of international department of GPTT. And here's what he had to say. Let's listen in.
Iran made it very clear that there would be costs at the strategic level, at the personal level, for whatever they've done during all these 40 days of war. That at one case, for example, they targeted a school that killed more than 168 people. These kind of things, this kind of actions against all international law or any kind of humanitarian norm. I think that there must be a cost, or there must be a punishment, but at the strategic level, between two states, I think it's more focused into push United States in a very border that try to understand the cost of any kind of ambitious things to, for example, find another Venezuela in Middle East, and try to push it to end this psychopathic cycle of war, negotiation, and violation of ceasefire.